You were never weak, lazy, or broken. Yet the moment you decided to end a bad habit, you were taught to blame yourself. From childhood, you were conditioned to believe that change comes from force, motivation, and extreme discipline. If you failed, the conclusion was simple: something was wrong with you. This belief quietly destroyed more lives than any habit ever did. In Japan, human behavior was observed differently. Change was never forced through emotion. It was engineered through structure. The Japanese understood something the modern world forgot. The mind does not respond to commands. It responds to systems. Motivation is unstable. Discipline is fragile. Systems endure. Every bad habit you struggle with exists because it once solved a problem. Procrastination protected you from fear. Overeating soothed stress. Distraction numbed discomfort. These behaviors were not accidents, they were adaptations. When you attack them violently, the brain defends them violently because it believes survival is at stake. This is why dramatic change almost always fails. Quitting overnight, pushing through pain, or declaring a new identity triggers the brain's threat response. The nervous system reacts with anxiety, cravings, and resistance. What you call lack of willpower is actually biology doing its job. The Japanese never relied on heroic effort. They relied on Kaizen. Kaizen means continuous improvement, but its deeper meaning is continuous non-resistance. Change so small that the brain never feels endangered. Progress so gentle that it becomes invisible. Modern neuroscience confirms this ancient wisdom. Habits live in the basal ganglia, a part of the brain that ignores logic and responds only to repetition and reward. You cannot argue a habit away. You must replace it quietly. Every time you attempt massive change, you activate stress hormones. Stress narrows perception and strengthens old loops. This is why pressure makes habits stronger, not weaker. The more you hate the habit, the more attention you feed it. Kaizen works by starving the habit without confrontation. Instead of eliminating behavior, it reduces friction by 1%. That 1% matters more than motivation ever will. The brain is a prediction machine. It chooses what feels familiar and safe. Kaizen slowly changes what feels normal. In Japan, mastery is subtle. A sword master does not swing harder. He adjusts his grip by millimeters. A calligrapher does not rush. He refines one stroke daily. Over time, these tiny refinements separate masters from beginners. Your habit survives because you face it head-on. Kaizen dissolves it from the edges. The brain does not resist reduction, it resists loss. Remove something completely and the mind panics. Reduce it slightly and the mind adapts. Most people fail because they demand outcomes instead of consistency. The brain cannot maintain outcomes, it can maintain rituals. Kaizen transforms change into ritual. The first rule of the Japanese system is simple. You do not stop a habit. You shrink it until it no longer controls you. Frequency becomes lower. Intensity becomes weaker. Access becomes inconvenient. None of this requires motivation. When you lower frequency by a tiny amount, the habit loses repetition. When you lower intensity, the reward fades. When you increase access friction, automatic behavior collapses. These changes feel insignificant day to day, but identity is built in days, not moments. Western culture worships speed. Faster results, faster transformations, faster success. Japan values direction. Slow progress in the right direction always defeats fast progress in the wrong one. The brain accepts what it can imagine repeating forever. This is why extreme plans fail. Kaizen asks only what you can do even on your worst day. When the answer is yes, change sticks. This approach removes shame. Failure becomes data, not identity. Missing a day does not break the system, because the system was never built on perfection. It was built on return. As days pass, resistance fades. The habit feels less attractive, not because you fought it, but because it no longer fits. The brain updates its prediction of who you are. This is the silent power of Kaizen. No speeches, no pressure, no war with yourself, only alignment. The moment you stop trying to become a different person and focus on becoming 1% better, the internal conflict ends. The nervous system relaxes. Rewiring begins. You are not here to destroy habits. You are here to outgrow them. And Kaizen is how it begins. In Japanese philosophy, patience is not passive. It is strategic. Time is used as a weapon against impulsive behavior. When change moves slowly, the ego loses interest, but the nervous system learns. This is why Kaizen feels boring to the undisciplined mind and liberating to the disciplined one. Bad habits collapse when attention shifts. The brain cannot strengthen what it does not repeatedly practice. Each tiny reduction weakens neural pathways. Each small win strengthens new ones. The brain rewires itself quietly, without drama. This system protects you from burnout. Burnout is the tax of intensity. Kaizen avoids the tax entirely. You never exhaust yourself because you never exceed your capacity. Consistency becomes natural instead of forced. Over weeks, something profound happens. You stop negotiating with yourself. The behavior no longer feels like a battle. It feels optional. This is the signal that identity is changing. The Japanese system never asks for belief. It asks for action so small that belief becomes unnecessary. When results appear, belief follows. This is why Kaizen endures while motivation fades. It does not depend on emotion. It depends on design. Design your days and your habits obey. Ignore design and habits rule you. This is the foundation. Everything else builds on this truth. Kaizen begins where excuses end. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today, with something so small it feels harmless. That is how systems beat impulses. That is how the Japanese mastered behavior. And that is how any habit, no matter how powerful, quietly loses its grip over time. Change does not announce itself. It whispers daily, reshaping identity until the old behavior disappears without resistance. This is the Kaizen way. The moment you understand Kaizen intellectually, your instinct will still betray you. You will want to do more. You will want faster results. You will want proof. This urge is natural, and it is the second trap that destroys change. Kaizen only works when you trust the mechanism more than your emotions. The Japanese system is built on one assumption: the brain always chooses the path of least resistance. This is not a flaw, it is efficiency. Your habits exist because, at some point, they became the easiest solution available. Kaizen does not fight this principle, it weaponizes it. Instead of demanding discipline, Kaizen redesigns friction. Friction is the invisible force that determines behavior. When something is easy, it happens. When something is slightly harder, it hesitates. When hesitation appears, choice becomes possible. Most people believe habits are broken by strength. In Japan, habits are broken by inconvenience. A bad habit rarely survives when it requires extra steps. Even seconds matter. Even inches matter. The brain avoids effort instinctively. This is why Kaizen begins with environment, not intention. If your environment stays the same, your behavior will return to baseline. Motivation cannot compete with familiarity. Design always wins. A phone beside your bed invites distraction. A phone across the room invites pause. That pause is not weakness, it is power. It is the moment where automation fails. Kaizen introduces these pauses everywhere. It does not remove the habit. It inserts friction into the loop. The cue remains, but the response weakens. Over time, the reward loses intensity. Neuroscience explains this clearly. Dopamine spikes are strongest when reward is immediate and effortless. When effort increases, dopamine decreases. The habit feels dull. The brain looks elsewhere. This is why reducing intensity works so well, lowering brightness, reducing volume, diluting sugar, shortening sessions. Each adjustment weakens stimulation without triggering panic. Kaizen respects the nervous system. Sudden deprivation creates stress. Stress strengthens compulsive behavior. Gradual reduction creates adaptation. Adaptation rewires preference. The Japanese never rush adaptation. They allow the body and mind to adjust naturally. This is why Kaizen feels slow at first and unstoppable later. Another critical principle is minimum viable action. The brain resists tasks that feel endless. It accepts tasks that feel finite. 1 minute, 1 page, 1 movement. These actions bypass resistance. When you commit to something trivial, the brain cannot justify refusal. Once action begins, momentum takes over. The hardest part was never the work, it was the start. Kaizen exploits this truth relentlessly. It lowers the barrier to entry so far that procrastination loses its power. You are no longer arguing with yourself. You are acting. Every action, no matter how small, updates identity. The brain keeps score. It records evidence. One action means nothing. Repeated action becomes belief. This is why Kaizen avoids goals. Goals create pressure. Pressure triggers avoidance. Kaizen focuses on process. Process creates safety. Safety creates repetition. In Japanese culture, repetition is sacred. Through repetition, chaos becomes order. Through order, freedom emerges. When behavior becomes automatic, willpower is no longer required. Bad habits feel powerful because they are automatic. Kaizen defeats them by building new automations slowly, without resistance. Consistency is the true discipline, not intensity, not sacrifice. Consistency. When consistency exists, effort disappears. The action becomes part of the day, like breathing or walking. There is no debate. It simply happens. This is why Kaizen changes identity without announcement. You do not wake up one day transformed. You wake up one day realizing the struggle is gone. The brain prefers familiarity. Kaizen makes improvement familiar. Over weeks, the new behavior feels normal. The old habit feels foreign. This shift is subtle. Most people miss it because they are looking for dramatic breakthroughs. Kaizen produces quiet certainty. Another hidden strength of Kaizen is emotional neutrality. There is no guilt when you miss, no pride when you succeed. Emotion is removed from the process. Only data remains. Missed a day, reduce the change further. Succeeded easily, maintain. Kaizen listens instead of commands. This adaptability makes the system anti-fragile. Stress does not break it. Failure does not end it. Life cannot disrupt it because it bends with circumstances. Western self-improvement glorifies suffering. Japanese discipline avoids it. Suffering is inefficient. Alignment is efficient. When effort feels heavy, Kaizen asks a simple question. How can this be made easier by 1%? The answer always exists. As weeks pass, the nervous system calms. You stop resisting yourself. The habit loses emotional charge. It no longer feels forbidden or tempting. It feels irrelevant. This is the point where people say the habit disappeared. In reality, it was displaced. Kaizen does not erase behavior. It replaces defaults. The mind does not need force. It needs direction. And direction, applied daily in microscopic doses, always reshapes destiny. This is the engine of the Japanese system. Quiet, precise, relentless. When you understand this, you stop chasing motivation forever, because systems do not require motivation. They only require design. Once the mechanism of Kaizen is understood, application becomes the real test. This is where most people return to old mistakes. They attempt to apply Kaizen emotionally instead of structurally. The Japanese system is not about feeling disciplined. It is about removing the need to feel disciplined at all. Every bad habit can be dismantled using 3 pressure points: frequency, intensity, and access. These are not theories, they are levers. Kaizen never pulls all levers at once. It pulls one gently until the system adapts. Frequency is the first lever. How often a habit occurs matters more than why it occurs. A habit repeated daily is stronger than one repeated weekly, regardless of pleasure. Kaizen reduces frequency by the smallest possible unit. 1 fewer repetition, 1 skipped instance. The brain notices reduction without panic. Reduction is safe. Elimination feels dangerous. This distinction is critical. When the brain senses danger, it protects the habit. When it senses adjustment, it cooperates. Intensity is the second lever. Intensity determines how rewarding the habit feels. High stimulation creates dependency. Lower stimulation creates indifference. Kaizen lowers intensity without moral judgment. Less sugar, not none. Shorter exposure, not abstinence. Softer stimulation, not deprivation. As intensity drops, dopamine response weakens. The habit still exists, but its grip loosens. The brain stops chasing it aggressively. Over time, the habit becomes boring. Boredom is the enemy of addiction. Access is the third and most powerful lever. Access determines whether a habit is automatic or optional. The more immediate the access, the stronger the habit. Kaizen introduces distance, physical distance, digital distance, time distance. Distance creates choice. Choice creates agency. Agency reshapes identity. Even a few seconds of delay can collapse a habit loop. The brain thrives on immediacy. Remove immediacy and the loop weakens. This is why simply moving an object can change behavior. Kaizen understands that humans do not rise to intentions, they fall to defaults. Change the default and behavior follows. The mistake people make is trying to replace bad habits with heroic good habits. Kaizen replaces bad habits with neutral actions first. Neutrality is easier to accept than virtue. Instead of replacing scrolling with productivity, replace it with standing up. Instead of replacing overeating with dieting, replace it with drinking water. Neutral actions calm the nervous system. Calm allows redirection. This is how Kaizen avoids internal rebellion. You are not demanding excellence. You are demanding alignment. The Japanese system does not reward outcomes. It rewards adherence. Did you apply the system today? That is the only question that matters. When adherence becomes the metric, progress becomes inevitable. Even bad days serve the system. Kaizen also respects seasons. There are days of energy and days of fatigue. The system adjusts. On low energy days, the habit shrinkage becomes microscopic. 1% becomes one breath, one step, one moment of awareness. This prevents collapse. Most systems fail because they demand consistency during inconsistency. Kaizen survives because it adapts. As weeks pass, something critical occurs. The habit no longer feels like an enemy. It feels like an outdated pattern. Emotional charge dissolves. Without emotion, the habit loses power. This emotional neutrality is the signal that rewiring is underway. The brain has stopped associating identity with behavior. You are no longer someone who struggles. You are someone who adjusts. The Japanese value adjustment over control. Control is rigid. Adjustment is intelligent. When a habit resurfaces, Kaizen does not punish. It observes what changed in environment, what changed in stress, what changed in access. The system evolves. This is why Kaizen outlasts willpower. Willpower is binary. You have it or you do not. Kaizen is scalable. It works at any capacity. Gradually, the old habit becomes inconvenient, dull, and unnecessary. The brain finds new defaults. These defaults feel natural because they were introduced gently. At no point did you declare war. At no point did you rely on motivation. At no point did you shame yourself. This is the hidden strength of the Japanese system. It respects human limits instead of denying them. When limits are respected, behavior stabilizes. When behavior stabilizes, identity follows. You stop saying you are trying to change. You start living differently without thinking about it. This is when people believe discipline appeared. In reality, discipline was never needed. Design did the work. Kaizen proves that the smallest lever, applied consistently, can move the heaviest habit, not through force, through patience, not through intensity, through alignment. This is how any bad habit weakens, quietly, predictably, permanently. Kaizen reaches its final form when identity shifts without announcement. This is the phase where most people misunderstand what has happened. They believe the habit vanished because of effort. In truth, the habit disappeared because it no longer matched who they became. The Japanese never define identity through words. Identity is revealed through repetition. What you do daily, even in the smallest form, becomes your self-image. Kaizen understands this and uses it deliberately. When actions change slowly, the mind does not resist updating identity. There is no shock, no contradiction. The brain simply adjusts its internal narrative. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who is trying to quit. You start thinking of yourself as someone who behaves differently. This shift is permanent because it is not forced. Forced identities collapse under pressure. Earned identities endure. In the West, people attempt to change by declaring who they are. In Japan, people change by behaving slightly differently every day until the declaration becomes unnecessary. Kaizen builds proof before belief. Each tiny action becomes evidence. The brain collects evidence silently. After enough evidence, belief forms naturally. This is why Kaizen eliminates imposter syndrome. You are not pretending to be disciplined. You are demonstrating discipline in its smallest form daily. Bad habits depend on emotional attachment. When identity changes, attachment dissolves. The habit feels irrelevant rather than tempting. Irrelevance is the true end. This is the stage where effort disappears. There is no longer a fight. The behavior simply does not arise as often. When it does, it feels optional. Optional behavior has no power. The Japanese call this state alignment. When behavior aligns with identity, energy returns. There is no internal friction. Life feels simpler, lighter, and quieter. This quiet is often mistaken for boredom. In reality, it is peace. Kaizen trains patience, but patience is not passive. It is strategic. Time becomes an ally instead of an enemy. Each day compounds identity in the same direction. The greatest advantage of Kaizen is that it protects change from emotion. Emotions fluctuate, identity does not. Once identity shifts, behavior follows automatically. This is why relapse becomes unlikely. Relapse requires identity conflict. When conflict no longer exists, relapse loses fuel. The Japanese system never promises quick results, it promises permanent ones. As months pass, the absence of struggle becomes noticeable. You stop thinking about the habit. You stop managing it. You stop fearing it. Freedom arrives quietly. This freedom is not excitement. It is stability. Kaizen also teaches humility. There is no finish line. There is only direction. Improvement continues even after the habit is gone. This mindset prevents complacency. You do not return to old patterns because improvement is no longer a project. It is a way of living. The Japanese believe mastery is never claimed. It is practiced. When applied fully, Kaizen transforms how you approach everything. Work becomes manageable. Health becomes sustainable. Discipline becomes natural. You stop asking how to change and start asking how to refine. This is the ultimate purpose of the system. Not self-control, but self-alignment. Alignment removes the need for constant decision-making. Decisions drain energy. Systems restore it. This is why Kaizen feels effortless in hindsight. The effort was spread so thin it never registered. The habit did not defeat you, and you did not defeat it. You simply became someone it could not survive within. This is the most powerful form of change. Invisible, quiet, undeniable. The Japanese system does not rely on belief, hope, or motivation. It relies on reality. Reality always wins. When life becomes stressful, Kaizen does not collapse, it contracts. The system survives because it can shrink infinitely. Even at your lowest point, 1% remains possible. That is enough. This is why Kaizen outlasts every other method. It was designed for humans, not ideals. You do not rise to discipline. You fall to design. Design your days correctly, and behavior obeys. This is the final lesson. You are not meant to fight yourself forever. You are meant to guide yourself patiently. Bad habits are not enemies, they are signals. Kaizen listens to the signal and adjusts the system. When the system changes, behavior follows. This is how the Japanese mastered craft, discipline, and life itself. Not through force, through consistency, not through pressure, through patience. Kaizen does not promise transformation overnight. It promises that if you remain aligned long enough, transformation becomes unavoidable. This is not motivation, this is mathematics. Small changes compounded daily rewrite destiny. And once identity aligns with action, the question of habits disappears entirely. There is nothing left to break, only something new to become. This is the end of the system and the beginning of the way, the Kaizen way.